Hello and welcome to Project One Voice Live. I love saying that. Project One Voice Live. I'm your host, Erich McMillan-McCall. Now, I am founder and CEO of Project One Voice. Now, to find out more information about all the wonderful things that we do at Project One Voice, visit our website at project.onevoice.org. Now, today you are in for a special treat. We will be reuniting the members of the Broadway company of the 1997 musical, The Life. The Life. Yes, The Life. Written by Cy Coleman, Ira Gasman, and David Newman. Directed by Michael Blakemoore. The Life was nominated for 12 Tony Awards, including Best Musical. Now, both Lillias White and Chuck Cooper won Tony Awards for their stellar performances. Now, also on today's show, we will talk about New York City Center Encores' bold concert adaptation of The Life, adapted and directed by Emmy, Grammy, and Tony Award-winning artist, the incomparable Billy Porter. Now, The Life will be at Encores. It's running March 16th through the 20th. Now, for tickets, tickets start as low as $35. Can you believe that? $35 to see The Life. They start at $35. Now, for more information about how you can get tickets to The Life and the rest of the Encore series, go to nycitycenter.org. That's nycitycenter.org. And if you forget that information, it'll be right down on the crawl in red, in bright red. So we're going to talk to Billy and the Encores cast a little bit later. But right now, let's go back 25 years to the 1997 Tony Awards and The Life.
$10. Used to buy a little timeshare with one of the ladies on 42nd Street. Of course, that was back in the good old, bad old days before they made the streets squeaky clean for Mickey Mouse. These chicks had more than meets the eye. They had attitude, lots of it, and they got it the old-fashioned way. They earned it. So bring on the girls!
I'm headed up to you with all those holy up. I want to save me from the devil. You right there. But all they really want is what those jokers always want. And when they get it, we don't see them till they want it again. Don't quote me no commandment. Don't preach me no time. There's only one commandment. Thou shalt survive. Maybe I'm a sinner, but who's gonna cast the first stone? It's my body and my body. Nobody's business but my own. Nobody's business but my own. What if I'm a sinner? Hey, I ain't exactly alone. It's my body and my body. Nobody's business but my own. Nobody's business but my own. Nobody knows. All those uptown ladies look and dress so nice. They can sell it their way. Let me sell it mine. Maybe you don't like it. Maybe you don't like it. But that don't mean nothing because my body is my business.
Wow, wasn't that amazing? Look, I remember seeing the 1997 Tony Awards and seeing this show on Broadway. This was an incredible day. So look, let's just jump right into this conversation. Omar, can you bring in Sam Harris, Joy McNeely, Chuck Cooper, Felicia Finley, Lynn Sterling, Katy Grenfell, Kevin Ramsay, and Carla Renata? Hey, hey, hey. Hey, everybody. Hey. Hey, are you ready to talk everything about the life?
Yes.
Yes. So let's just jump right in. So, what was it like seeing that clip almost 25 years ago at the Tony Awards? Sam, what was it like?
Well, I've changed a little bit. But I am looking, okay, first of all, I'm looking at all those girls, and it just makes me so happy and so joyful, and so many memories, and the fun we had. It's thrilling. And y'all look kind of the same.
Yeah, they do, don't they? Hey, Judine, what did it feel like seeing this after 25 years?
Very emotional. I had no idea that I would feel the way that I did. I put on the soundtrack before, a couple hours before, and tears just came streaming down my eyes. That we had so much fun together, such authenticity in the dressing room, and just everything that happened. And for that Tony Award-winning performance that we gave at the Radio City Music Hall, my mother was in the audience, and Judy Jacksina got all of us in a limousine. We left the theater. We went there. My mother stepped out of the limousine and said, "I can die and go to heaven." And my mother has made her transition 25 years ago, and she is shining bright. It was it was amazing. Amazing.
Wow.
Amazing.
Chuck Cooper, what was that like for you?
Oh my God. It like Sam said, it just made me so happy to see that again, and all those exquisite women. Oh my God.
Wow.
And to think they just got finer. I mean,
now you
I was like a kid in a candy store.
I know they still look amazing 25 years later. They all look amazing. So you won your first Tony that year, correct?
Yeah, my first and only Tony.
Well, there are more in your future, so I'm just saying the first of many.
Erich, he won my first Tony too.
And there you go. The truth comes
It
out.
should have been Sam's Tony. We all know that it should have been Sam's.
Carla, what are your memories of seeing that again?
Oh man, I echo everything that Judine said, but I also remember that Kim Hawthorne and I and another young lady, I think her name was was it Heather? I think it was Heather. We were we were the swings, and we had rehearsed to do it, and then at the last minute they snatched us out, and we were like, "That's okay."
Really?
We were like, "Really? Radio City Music Hall, the stage is really long. Y'all can't squeeze us up in there."
Oh,
but yeah, we had fun doing the life. And yes, Chuckles was very much a kid in a candy store, because I was the swing. And every time I went on in a different costume, he had commentary.
Kevin, what were your thoughts about this 25 years later?
I'm just full. Like, wow. Like the life of an artist is a really interesting journey, right? We get to meet, we get to have these momentary families. You get very close to people, and then you kind of like gypsies in the night, right? And so to be in this moment, to see these beautiful faces, to know that we're well, to also know that there are a number who've crossed over, right? When I think of James Stovall, when I think of Mark Anthony, right? When I think of these people who were also such a monumental force in the show. Seeing them women dance, man, you know, Lord have mercy. I used to just have fun. Hang it out, Chuck, and I would just hang in the wings. Lord have mercy. God has blessed me with a job that I can just admire the beauty of women.
And I get paid for this.
And I get paid for this. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Lynn Sterling, what are your thoughts 25 years later?
Is that me?
Yes, it's you.
Oh,
The one and only.
Well, all I know is I saw the life at West Best with Chuck and Lillias. Chuck, you scared the shit out of me even then. Excuse me. Sorry. But, and I saw it, and I was sitting in the audience,
And I was friends with Pamela, who played Queen. And I was so worried because it was about pimps and prostitutes. And her first song was, "What a Lovely Day to Get Out of Jail." And all I could think was, oh my God. And then the show happened. And by the time they got to Working Girls, Working Men, I said to the person that went with me, I said, when this show goes to Broadway, I am going to do it. So when I see our Radio City performance, that is the most that is the biggest manifestation that I've ever had in my career, where I said, I will do that and this will happen. And there we all were on that Radio City stage, and you could not touch anything we did that night. We were a dream that night. And anytime I watch it, I've seen it. I watch it over the years because I feel good when I see it. And it was just perfection. It's a moment in my life and in all of our lives, we were perfection. And that's what that does for me.
Wow. Katy, what are your thoughts 25 years later?
Honestly, it brings me back to the moment I have never had so much fun on a stage than I had doing this show, because the people that we were all together, we were as a family, and we were just, no matter what happened, we had each other's backs, and we would do the show, and change something. And to me, it's the influence that number especially has had over the years on other communities. A couple years ago, I went to perform in Ohio with Virginia West and Nina West, and we ended the show with this song, and that's their signature ending of the song out there in Ohio. And how many people know this song, and how much of this show changed our own attitudes in the world just from doing it every day. This show inevitably changed me, indelibly changed me forever, just because of what we did on stage, and it carried over into my actual being. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's a number about female empowerment. Yeah. You know, Felicia.
Yeah,
Felicia, I'm sorry.
I'll take anything.
25 years later, what are your thoughts?
Well, I can't say anything better than what everybody else has said, but I do think of one thing, which is Popeye's fried chicken.
And Marta would go and get our chicken wings.
Yes.
And Chuck, bring you too.
We had to yell at Chuck, y'all, Chuck got wind, run. Because he would descend, and we're like, get out of the way. Because they wanted us bigger. They wanted us to have, and doing 8 shows a week, you lose weight really easily. So we had biscuits and Popeyes, and it was a thing.
Wow.
I don't remember any of that.
You don't?
No.
Virgil's.
We ate like pigs.
That's why. You were working out.
Yeah, Virgil's.
Right? She would be on the floor doing crunches and carrying on.
Crunches. We were doing biscuits.
That's why she still got a dancer's body right now.
I was a delivery boy sometimes.
Joey, let's bring you into this conversation. You're one of the members of the creative team. What was it like seeing your choreography on the stage of Radio City?
Well, I have a confession. I watch that video of the Tonys on a regular basis. Anytime I need to pick me up, I need to feel good, I watch that, and it just brings so much joy to me. Not only that, but I'm so proud of what everyone brought to the stage and to be a part of that. I mean, it was a very early part of my career to be part of the Life, and to be with the creators, with Cy Coleman and Michael Blakemoore, who was just a wonderful director who just really embraced the family that all these people you see here and all the other ones that can't be here. He really embraced everybody. And that the testament of the Life, I believe, was these body types, these women, these stories, the underbelly of the 42nd Street was not celebrated. These are people that were discarded. And for us to celebrate those characters and those beings, because these people existed, and to elevate them to Broadway show was just a miraculous, I think, accomplishment. And so I'm very proud of that, and I'm proud of the story we told and the impact we made. I think the girls, and I may say that year Titanic won the Tony, and as soon as Titanic won the music award, the girls were not happy.
Nope.
They were like, the Life music, Cy Coleman's score was tremendous.
It really was.
And we won everything else.
We won Outer Circle that year, and we won
drama desk, everything. We won everything,
and then we got to the Tonys and we got nothing. So that was, the girls took that energy on stage and went, you know what?
That's the ferocity of the performance.
Our show is a great show, and we're going to prove it right now. And I think that's a beautiful statement that has lasted the test of time.
Yeah.
I remember Judine giving us a pep talk backstage before the Tonys, like, girls, put it in the number. We're going to put it in the number, and that's what we're going to do. And we were like, yes, mama, let's go. And it was Judine who was like, pull it together and just put it on the number. And
oh my God.
And the next day, which we had to go back to work.
Yes.
And the next day, Cy called me in the morning, and Liza and I were very close friends, and she came in. She says, Cy said, we're going to bring the attention back to our show. And so Liza came. She was always hanging out.
That's right.
Oh my God.
She brought my makeup all the time.
I remember that.
She had a chair. She had a spot in our room.
I remember that.
Now, clue us in. Who are you talking to? Saying Liza.
Who on the stage, and she and I. Well, first, you're gonna love this. I don't even know if some of you guys know this. So we met early, Cy and Liza and me, and we were backstage, and it's Cy freaking Coleman, and he's playing the piano, and we moved up the key. I'm like, really? Like, I'm supposed to sing higher even? And so we moved up the key. We came to this arrangement and planned to do it. And then every time I went backstage to a costume change, she would be like, and then let's do this. And then let's do this. I'm like, I gotta get on stage. So then at the end, we pulled her up on stage and we sang Use What You've Got. And it was crazy. And it brought back the attention to the joy of our show.
Wow.
Yeah.
I tell that story of her being back there that night all the time. I know people think I'm making that up, but I'm like, no, y'all, that really happened. Remember all the people that would come backstage though? Yes. Chuck, remember that night? Remember that night this real pimp came to the show?
Remember that night real pimp came to the show? Tell the story. Tell the story, Chuck.
To apologize to you afterwards.
Wow. Tell us a story.
I remember this, but Carla, you're gonna have to help me. I just remember he showed up. Did he come several times?
Yeah, he had his hoes with him.
In the front row. He asked me to work for him outside the stage door one day.
Yeah.
He asked me to be his hooker.
Yeah.
Like, I'm an actor, honey. I'm not a real one.
But he called all of us Show Enough Kitty Cat.
Yeah.
He called
Show Enough Kitty Cat. Yes, he did.
He said we were Show Enough Kitty Cat. And he thought after the
Hey.
And at the first time he was there, we used to go out during intermission and hang out on the street. And back then we smoked. Everybody smoked. And we smoked on stage. We smoked real cigarettes, Mm-hmm, and so I always said the audience was like, yes, yes. But at intermission, we would go out and hang out, and he thought the show was over.
Right.
It was fun. Do you remember that, Chuck? You're like, no, man. He's like, there's more. He goes, how can I go to that hooker's ball? I want to go to that hooker's ball. Y'all remember that?
He was a trip. Oh, wait. And remember the chick that came backstage that had actually gone to like the players ball or whatever. And she came, she came backstage with that photo album with all those pictures.
That was Xavier Hollander.
And we saw all the costumes in the photo album, and we were like, "Ooh,
yeah." No, that one of those was Xavier Hollander, and there was like 4 women that came back.
That wrote the Happy Hooker.
Happy Hooker,
yeah, with Happy Hooker, and they showed us like the real hookers ball, and we were going through pictures with our jaws on the floor. Like,
do you guys remember when we got? Do you remember
empowered.
the night? You remember the night during previews that Coyote came?
Yes.
Cut out your old tired ethics. The sex workers union came.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Swarmed us backstage.
Yes.
And the funny thing was, this one woman said to me, she said, well, now, you know, I never walked on the street. I was a call girl. And it reminded me of,
I remember that.
it reminded me of how we say, I did the Broadway company. I wasn't on tour. You know what I mean? It was like that. But they were back there just giving us all their secrets. And they loved the show and thought it was so real.
Do y'all remember our homework before the show?
Oh, yeah. Hookers at the Point?
Yeah.
Hookers at the Point.
I love Hookers at the Point. I love
Hookers at the
School
Point.
Teacher. HBO is what I watch it religiously. It's like a weekly ritual for me. I love that documentary. I love it. Hey, so listen, let me ask you this question. So the Life was based on an original idea by Ira Gasman. And Wikipedia basically says it explores the underbelly of Times Square's 42nd Street, inhabited by pimps and prostitutes, druggies and dealers and runaways and street people in the era prior to the Disneyfication. Tell us what it was like being in New York City before Disney took over. What was it like being in New York City during that time?
It was a lot more fun, that's for sure.
Amen.
I lost that question. What did you ask? I missed it.
What was it like being in New York City, auditioning and being in the theater in the years before the Disneyfication of Times Square? What was that like?
Well, our show was basically set more in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of before any of us were doing, it was before our time a little. I mean, the Mickey Mouse took over in like, what, the early 90s?
Early 90s, right. Yeah.
90s.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was living in Manhattan Plaza. My kids were raised in Manhattan Plaza, which is, 2 blocks from 42nd and 8th. And we were there when Playwrights Horizons was a porno movie house.
Right.
And then the transvestites and the hookers were hanging out on 9th Avenue and 42nd, and really hanging out. And I remember.
And the Gaiety Theater was at that rehearsal space on 42nd Street.
And Lily and Alex in strollers past unimaginable sights in Times Square. It was rough. It was something else.
Well,
Manhattan Plaza changed it all. When once Manhattan Plaza got there, it totally changed the whole neighborhood and everything.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Felicia.
I remember Ira telling me, because I asked him about it, and he said he would take a lawn chair on 42nd Street, and he would bring a tape recorder, and he would just press play and sit there, smoke cigarettes, and just listen to everything.
Wow.
So he literally, everything that he had, it was from, but he said I would just sit in a lawn chair and watch it.
I have to tell an Ira story. If for people who don't know him, he was quite a character. He was kind of schmumpy all the time. So I was always the first person in the theater. I needed to be on the boards. That's where I warmed up. I like to, there was no half-hour shit for me. I had to be there. So I would be on the stage, and I was like, yeah, and I was yeah, and Ira was in the back of the house, and he yelled, "Sam, we could never live together."
You sound just like him.
That was so Ira.
So we're talking about this amazing creative team. Can you tell us some stories about Cy Coleman? What was it like to work with the legendary Cy Coleman?
Dreamy.
Didn't he live on West 92nd in that area? And I remember, I actually have it on a legal pad. He put in a recitative right before a preview, and he wrote it out. He literally wrote it out in his brain on a piece of paper, and we put it in that night.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And he wrote it within 20 blocks?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what was amazing about Cy is that he knew what he wanted and he knew what he liked and he was unapologetic about it.
Oh my
And
God.
he shot straight from the hip, straight up.
Yep.
I remember a moment with me and James Stovall that I'll never ever ever forget. Rudy Giuliani had just become mayor in New York, and they were having all these inaugural events for him. And to save the ladies from having to perform and the gentlemen from performing during the day, they oftentimes would ask the swings, myself or James, to go out and do things for the ladies and the guys. And this one particular time, they had us perform the song My Friend, which was sung between Lillias and Pam on stage. They had James and I sing that at this event, this inaugural event for Rudy Giuliani. And the next day, Judy Jacksina, the publicist for the show, was like, yo, Cy wants to meet you and James at Sony Records. And I was like, really? Okay. So we go down there, and I remember walking into this conference room, and it was huge. And there was a piano at the end on the right, far right. And Cy was sitting down there tinkling on the piano. And she had told us that he wanted to hear James and us sing My Friend, but I didn't think he was going to be there. Right. And so I walk in and he's there, and I'm like, what are you doing here? And he was like, who did you think was going to be here? And I'm like, not you. I'm like, are you going to play? And he was like, yeah, I got all these comments about you singing my song. I want to hear what it sounds like. And I had a moment because I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. And my whole life, all I ever wanted was to be in a Broadway show. And now I'm in, like, I don't even know what Broadway show number that was for me by the time I got to the Life. But now I'm in this Broadway show. It's written by Cy Coleman, and he wants to hear me sing. And I had a moment, and James came in and caught me having a moment and kind of smacked me upside the head and was like, get it together. And we sang the song for Cy. And then after that, Cy wanted me to cover Pam. I'm like, yeah, that's out of my range. I can't do that. I can't do that. And he was like, no, you're going to do it. And he made me work with Joe, our musical director, for about a week. He said, work with him for a week and then come in, and I want to hear you sing this song. And I'm like, if you could just lower that a half a step, I could kill it. He was like, no, he did not like changing keys. He would not change a key. And if he did, it would be like Sam said, he would take it higher, not lower.
That's a great story
about Cy and his brutal honesty. So it was the day before Harold Wheeler had come in to listen to us, so that Harold Wheeler could do the arrangements. And so I think we're at BAM, where we started our rehearsal process. And I'd been up, man, the rehearsal process was grueling. So I'd been up all night trying to learn material. And by the time we got to the moment to have to sing for Cy and for Harold, my voice was just tired. And I just said to Cy, I'm like, Cy, I'm a little tired. He said, yeah, baby, I can hear it. And he was that honest. And then opening night, though, he wrote me the most beautiful letter that I was looking for, but I wasn't in a box somewhere. That Jesse expressed the challenges. He expressed the challenges of Fleetwood and the humanity that he thought I brought to that role. And it's one of those letters where you just preserve, because here's this iconic man who is not just complimenting you, but who sees, I guess, your essence. And so those two juxtapositions were just very powerful. But that brutal honesty kept me on the P's and Q's around Cy.
I have a brutal honesty side story. We were rehearsing Mr. Greed, and Joey McNeely. Are you still here, Joey? Where did he go? He changed that choreography every 15 minutes. And I don't have the math head. And so he was always changing it. And we're in the rehearsal hall and we're doing it and changing it again. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm singing it, but I'm singing it like, just to get through it. And Cy walks in one door of the rehearsal room, headed toward the other door to get out. And he turns to me and he says, you're not going to sing it that way, are you?
That was at Ross Space. I remember that.
Okay. And so I said, excuse me, Cy, Mr. I will do whatever you want. I will sing it in any way you want. You cannot talk to me like that in front of the company. It's embarrassing. Please don't do that. And he put his arm around me and he said, you know I can say that to you and I know what you're going to do and all this stuff. And he was, like Kevin was saying, he was empowering, but damn, he just said whatever he thought.
He would let you have it. He didn't care.
But Kevin, do you remember the time you guys were in rehearsal? We were all in rehearsal, and I don't know what song it was, but he was working with you, and you had to do it over and over and over and over.
Okay, you got me, Queen. I sent him on some stuff.
Yeah,
honey.
I've got you, Queen. It was that line.
Over.
Okay, you got me, Queen. I spent it on some stuff. Remember that line, Kevin? He dogged you on that forever.
You remember it?
That went on for so long.
Oh my God.
We
started looking at each other like, oh,
I remember
sugar,
that.
honey, iced tea over here.
Yes,
you handled it. You handled it well. Yeah. I have to say, because anybody else,
I would have
male
cried.
or female, would have been in tears. It was brutal.
In tears.
I knew,
Can I share my Cy Coleman story with everybody?
Yes, Joey.
Yeah.
So, there in the script, there was a scene at a topless bar. And so we had to stage that topless bar. And I looked to Michael Blakemoore and I said, have you ever been to a topless bar? And he goes, no. I said, well, let's go to one. There was one called Billy's Topless on 23rd Street. And so we took Cy Coleman, because Cy Coleman had never been to one, or at least he allegedly said. So we get in a cab after rehearsals. I say, well, I know the perfect place. So we go in. We pass the bouncer, we walk into this topless place, all the girls on the stage, so we can get a feel of how the authenticness of how to stage this. That's where we got the towel, ladies.
Yeah.
The girls go on stage with a towel. They sit on a towel. We would have never thought of that. Anyway, we go to the bar. Bartender, I'll have a beer. Okay, Michael Blakemoore. He goes, I'll have a water. Cy Coleman, what kind of white wine do you have? The bartender says, shitty.
Wow.
I goes, I'll have a water.
That's hilarious.
Oh my God.
I remember auditioning for Cy down in West Beth and for the workshop. And I remember sitting out, it must have been summer. It was a really nice day. And I was sitting out there's a little circle area out there, and I was sitting out there with Lillias, and we were sitting there. Oh, these folks want us to do pimps and whores. We can't be. Well, why are we here doing this? And blah 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 blah. So I go in to do my audition, and I forget. I was singing some audition song that I'd sang for a million years, and Cy is sitting with the creatives, whatever, with Joe Layton and whatnot, and they had a rehearsal pianist playing for us. And so I sang my song, and Cy says, "Well, I want to hear you. I want to hear you sing something from the show." And he gets up and walks to the piano, and lets the rehearsal pianist know that he can. Cy's got this, right? So Cy gets down and starts playing, teaching me the beginning of Don't Take Much. And, Cy, folks don't know, Cy was the jamming jazz pianist, composer before he was in the theater, okay?
Rainbow Room.
So, right. I'm looking at his hands. His hands were like, look, his fingers were no longer than that. I mean, he had these short little stubby fingers. And he's just smacked this piano upside the head in a way that I was like, it really just shocked me. The sound that he was able to make out of that piano. And then he taught me, don't take much to turn a girl into a woman. And I remember he looked up and he goes, oh, that's okay. Cy Coleman is playing for me, and he said I was okay.
Wow.
Okay, when I auditioned with this. I sang a coupling of two songs. One was "There's Got to Be Something Better Than This," his song from Sweet Charity. And I said, Mr. Coleman, I just have to tell you in advance, I've changed some of Dorothy Field's lyrics. And he said, what the hell should I care for? She's dead.
Wow. I wanted to get in touch with Shelby, his wife and daughter, Lily. Is it? Yeah, Lily.
Yeah.
But I didn't get to make that happen. But I think after this call, I'm gonna reach out because she was really amazing too.
She was so kind. I loved her.
Yeah. So what was it like working with Michael Blakemoore?
Hilarious.
Brilliant.
My favorite thing about Michael Blakemoore was actually in the
there's something about a British director directing a primarily black cast or what is perceived as a black story. Because a lot of times you'll be in the room with a white director and they'll say something or ask us to do something and the whole room just shrivels. It never happens with a British director. I don't know how they are able to circumvent that trap, but I loved how they took all of the, they took out all but the most important, for lack of a better word, profanity out. They pared it all down, and he's the one that told us the show wasn't about sex. It's not about pimps and prostitutes. It's about money and friendship and betrayal and love. And that changed us. But we weren't doing a dirty show. We were doing a show about people. It's like, it was very humanizing what he did with that show and that script for us.
Yeah. So, Katy, what were you saying?
My favorite thing about Michael is how we could get him to curse with his accent during rehearsals all the time. Because especially during the workshop, he would go something like, take it from pussy whipped. And we go, where, Michael? Where did you want us to? Pussy whipped, please. Take it from pussy. I'm sorry, whipped. And he would just say it over and over. And we were just cackling. And he knew what we were doing and he just indulged us and kept saying those things over and over. He's a joy and he's brilliant.
Brilliant.
Now, he's very smart. I mean, the wonderful thing about Michael is his intelligence, but, he was bringing out the humanity behind these characters. I remember when I did My Body, the first version, I was doing sex. It was sex. They were crawling on the floor, legs open, everything. And he looked and said, no, it's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. No, it's not about that. And I was like, well, I don't understand. Explain it to me. And he said, no, it's not about what they do with their bodies. It's about empowerment.
Yeah.
And so that was really a big thing. And again, not saying it's about the humanity about these people. So I think, there was a perception of the show, and he was really able to put on stage what Lynn was saying. It's not about pimps and prostitutes. It's about the humanity behind these people and the relationship. So he was just brilliant to work with.
Yeah.
Wow.
To echo with what Lynn and Joey said, even more with, unfortunately, how sex trafficking has become such a huge deal. And it just made me, I kind of like went back in my head. And of course, my head wasn't where it is now with the show. But now that I look back at it and I'm doing these speaking engagements, when I talk about the life, that relationship between Lillias and Pam is a sisterhood unto no other.
Yes.
And I think it resonates. I get chills when I thought about it. Of course, A Lovely Day to Be Out of Jail, one of my faves, but just the whole, from the beginning to the end, the arc in all of the characters, it's really about humanity. And more importantly, the why. We don't wake up, we're not popped out of our moms and saying, oh, we want to be a prostitute. Oh, we want to be a pimp. There are circumstances that happen that make you feel and do things that to us looking on, it's like, oh, that's horrible. But did you ever ask why Chuck's character did what he did? Why Ike Turner was who he was? Why Tina allowed, it goes into this whole big, conversation about the why of why they are where they are.
Yeah, he made us all go home and write our backstory and give the why. We had to tell him why our character came to New York, why we ended up here, why we ended up on the street. Did we seek it out? Like, did we fall into it? I had like 10 pages of backstory that he had me write, and he would look at it and grade it and give it back to me and say more. I want more. Like, it was amazing.
Katie, do you remember any of that backstory for your character?
I remember all of it. Yeah.
Do you mind sharing?
Katie would.
I remember all of it.
Of course she would, honey.
I was the synopsis would be I was a teenager from Texas who escaped an abusive family and came to New York, and Chuck found me and became a replacement sort of father figure to me. And since he treated me the same way my birth father treated me, it felt normal. So he led me into the life that way, and I would do anything for him because he was my new daddy, basically.
I love that in this conversation you're talking about the humanity of these people who just happen to be pimps, hoes, drug dealers, but they're human beings at the end of the day. They have feelings, they have emotions. You've mentioned quite a few people. You mentioned Pam Isaacs, who was incredible in the show. And who are we missing from this conversation? Can we talk about
Sharon Wilkins?
Yes.
Chi-Chi.
Yeah.
Where is Chi-Chi?
Bernal Bonneries.
Burnell.
Michael Gregory.
Stephanie Rose.
Give us last names as well.
Mark
Bovey.
Mark
Bovey.
Yeah. Rudy
Bernal Bonneries.
Rudy.
Rudy.
Can't get to heaven.
Michael Gregory Gong.
Josh
That boy was big.
Yeah.
Michael Gregory Gong.
Remember Michael Gregory with the shoes?
Michael.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You guys, you know Michael Gregory Gong is like, he's like this major movie mogul over in Japan.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Huge. Yeah.
Wow.
I love it.
Speaking of people who aren't here, we have a special message from someone who wanted to be here, but they could not. Omar, are we ready for that clip?
Is this what I think it is, Erich?
Yeah, I think it is. Actually, here we go.
One of these days, I'll be one of those people who flies out of New York. The glamour. I so wish I were there with you today, but I'm on a lady's belated birthday weekend. Anyway, I'm with you in my heart. My sweetheart and I, we just walked by City Center like 2 days ago because we're so excited about the production, and we just wanted to see the poster and see your faces, and just we wanted to be a part of it. It meant the world to me to get to be in the original production, back in the 1900s. There's so many gems in this score, and we were limited by the lens we were telling the story through. But you guys, you have Billy and you have James, and from everything James has told me about what is happening, I'm gonna cut all the fucking gorgeous facets out of all those jewels and just make it shine. But I cannot wait to see, and they handpicked every one of you, so you're gonna crush it. I'm sending you so much love. I won't take any more of your time. Go, slay, be fabulous. I'm gonna see you next week, and I'm sending you so much love. And to everybody that I got to be a part of the family of the life with, I'm sending you guys so much love too. I hope I get to see you in the audience. All right. Sorry, it's cold out here. I'm shaking. All right, I love you. Enjoy every minute. Break a leg. Mwah.
That's love.
Wasn't that amazing?
Bellamy.
Yeah, we have to thank Sam for that. He contacted Bellamy.
That poor girl has just gone to pot. She just looks terrible. It was sad. I tried to, when she sent me the video, I was trying to put filters and shit on. And it's like,
it's a shame she's not working.
Yeah.
It's a shame her career didn't work out for her. I mean, she really just,
So for our listening audience, that was Bellamy Young, who was in the life. She was a part of this, the original Broadway company of the Life. She was also on the television show Scandal, and she's now in Promised Land, which are both on ABC. So she's going to see the Life. So I hope that all of you that are watching, you're going to see the Life at City Center Encores, running March 16th through the 20th. Tickets start at $35, and you can go to nycitycenter.org for tickets. Now, let's continue this conversation about the people that are missing from this conversation. There's one other person who's missing from this conversation. We'd like to bring on to this to say hello. Omar, if you will. We're just waiting. I love live. So
you have to.
Listen,
there's nothing better than live.
It is what it is.
As long as you're looking fabulous, which we are, it's all good. So here we go.
Of course you would say that, Judine. Well, while we're waiting,
Erich, one of the things I'm excited about with the City Center is it's bringing the Life back into the conversation, because we had made such an impact, and then the Life just kind of dissipated from the conversation. And for Billy to be handpicked to helm it, I thought was a wonderful choice, because he'll bring a lot of press to the show, and I think he'll do a wonderful job with it. I'm very excited that people will now get to rediscover the Life, because a lot of people heard about it but didn't get a chance to see it. So I think this is a great opportunity for for people to expose themselves to the show, and I'm very excited about his cast and what they do with it, because it's going to be a different production. It has to be, because this show is really all about the people that are on the stage, and he's selected a fine actors and singers. I'm looking very excited to see it myself.
Billy,
you know what I'm excited about with that?
Billy sent me the script a few months ago, and it is so reimagined, and he cut the fat, and he's moved things around, and there's some real surprises of looking at roles and things. And then also James Sempliner is doing the orchestrations and arrangement, and he sent me some, and it's so exciting, and it's really gritty, and it's really of the period. It's got that funky, nasty kind of like Shaft groove. I'm really excited.
I think we're all so excited about this adaptation. We're excited about Billy Porter directing this. He's coming back to New York City to direct this, directing at Encores for the first time, I think. So we're really, really excited about this, and we're all rooting for the success of this new adaptation. And we hope there's a life for this after the Encores presentation.
That's great.
No pun intended.
Exactly, no pun intended. This cast, we have Ledisi in this. She's extraordinary, and Alexandra Gray. It's an extraordinary cast. But let's get back to 1997, and Chuck, can you tell us a little bit about what it was like being a part of the early workshops of the Life? I know Joe Layton was a part of the early forms of this. Mamie Duncan Gibbs, who I found out has been a part of almost every show. I mean, we did a conversation about the Tap Dance Kid a few months ago, and who was there? Mamie Duncan Gibbs. So she was also a part of this. So can you tell me a little bit about that, and the fact that Ed Battle, who passed away, was also a part of that workshop incarnation?
Well, it was a wonderful first exploration of what the piece could be, and they were trying something that was kind of new, this street story, this story about marginalized people and their relationships, and really what the show is about, as you guys said, is about the friendship and how to develop that. And the things I think they learned, as you do in workshop, what doesn't work and what does work, or where you need to go. And I think from that workshop, they learned that the focus of the show was really Queen and Sonia, and I think so. I think that was the seed that then later gave birth to You Were My Friend, which I wrote later for them to sing. But I think the genesis for that was actually in the workshop, and a lot of other things. I mean, they found out roles that perhaps didn't work, or they wanted to let go of. They found out what they should let go of and what they should go with. That was what the workshop did for them, I think.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Can you tell us a little bit more about what it was like going into that first day of rehearsal? I don't know if you remember, if you can put your thinking caps on and see what it was like to see it all.
Well, let me first say this. It took almost, from the time we did the workshop, it was almost 10 years from the workshop to Broadway. And that during that time, Joe Layton passed and Michael Blakemoore came on board. The whole time, Cy Coleman, whoever he talked to about taking over Joe's position, Cy Coleman said that Sharon Wilkins and Pamela Isaacs and Lillias White and Chuck Cooper are going with this show.
Wow.
You're going to take them.
Wow.
And that's the way it was. I mean, we did go in and sing for Michael, but Cy was like, I hope you like him, because that's what we're going with. So he stuck with us. We stuck with him. You know, we did so many of these little backers auditions. They were every like month or so, they'd call us up and say, listen, we're doing, we're going to get in Marty Richards' living room and sing a couple of songs with some students and hope they pull out their check. And we did that for so long that we were like, oh, here they go again. Cy Coleman took Cy Coleman 10 years to get the show to Broadway.
Wow.
You know what, Chuck? Even after we started the rehearsals for the Broadway show production, do you guys remember that they still didn't have their money?
Right, we were raising money.
And then all of a sudden have to do like a 30-minute presentation. So we were rehearsing a presentation and the show at the same time. Cy Coleman, I mean, that was crazy.
That's why we were rehearsing in a warehouse in Brooklyn, because we got
right.
Oh, wow.
I remember that place was way the hell out in Brooklyn.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what's really interesting about you talking about that early incarnation, Billy Porter has mentioned in some of the interviews that he was a part of one of those backers auditions, that he was actually singing, I think, the role of Fleetwood in one of these. So he has a long history with this musical that even precedes the Broadway incarnation of it. So I just wanted to bring that point.
Michael McElroy sang Fleetwood for one of those things too.
Yep. Oh wow!
Didn't Ed Battle play Fleetwood at one time? Was Ed Battle Fleetwood?
Yeah, he did the workshop.
Yeah.
So Lynn, I just want to know what was a little bit more about the audition process for each of you to get the show. How
I must say.
So my audition.
I love everybody.
Joey McNeely.
Joey, good to see you, Joey.
Joey, wait a minute, Joey. What are you up to before you leave? What are you up to these days?
I'm living life, baby.
And drop the mic.
Living life, baby. Living life.
Joey.
Living life. That's all I got to say.
Joey, one thing I remember so fondly about you in the rehearsal process, especially on that first number, was you always would talk about that tableau, like that first number.
Yeah, the lifeline.
Yeah, the lifeline.
Lifeline.
Right. You.
Oh yes,
Thank
there was
you,
a chorus line. I was like, we had a lifeline.
Yes.
Joey, that John Paul Good photograph.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all leaning.
Yes.
And wait, everyone, don't forget 50 Reasons Why Whores Are My Heroes.
40. Yes.
Opening night, I came across this street rag that had this pictorial editorial, and it was all these pictures of hookers, prostitutes. And the artist wrote 50 reasons why whores are my heroes.
I remember.
And I copied it. I gave everyone a copy for opening night. And it was embodied about exactly what we were doing. Whores are flamboyant. Whores help the handicapped. Whores are a good time. Whores are essential. It was just such a beautiful comment about real people, and that was I remember that from everybody. So you are all my heroes, you whores.
Joey, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Joey. God bless you, brother.
Text me when you're coming to see the show. We'll make sure.
I will do.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Look.
Okay, so you asked me about my audition, Eric.
Yes, please, Lynn. Lynn, tell us about your audition.
So I walked in and I had the tiniest little, nastiest little pair of hot pants on, and the highest hooker platform gold shoes I could find, black fishnets with a hole in them, and a bra with a leopard print. So I'm in there and I'm talking to the pianist, and I bent over to speak to him, but I was kind of like in a flat back, and my rear end was to the table. And we were discussing it, and it went on so long that Cy finally just said, "Okay, you're hired."
There you go. That's a great story. Oh my God.
That was my audition.
And
I had great taste.
You left Cats to do the Life, correct?
Yeah, the Cats wardrobe and hair department was responsible for my look.
Oh wow. Yes. Felicia, what was your audition like?
Well, I was actually doing a Smokey Joe's down the street, and I was the last person hired for the show. And it was a Wednesday matinee, and I get a phone call in between shows. You know, when you go to the stage management's office, they're like, "Finley, come to the stage management's office." I was like, "Hey, hi, Lillian."
Oh my God.
Oh yes,
Hey, baby.
Hey, Lila.
Oh my God. How y'all doing? Can you hear me?
What's up, baby?
Yeah, we can hear you, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lillias White.
What's up, Lil?
We can hear you. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Lil?
What's up, Lil? Oh my God. Hey.
How are you,
I'm
my
in
dear?
Punta Cana.
Wow.
Can you hear me?
Yes, baby. We can hear you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my mouth's full of
Hey,
food.
girl.
I'm in Punta Cana. I just got here. I'm on vacation. I haven't had a vacation in so long, and I need to sit down.
Yes.
And I'm having champagne.
Yeah, had a girl. Of course you are.
It's a moment to celebrate because we're talking 25 years of history.
I know.
Yeah. Tell us your thoughts about being a part of this. Tell us your experience of being part of this amazing show. Tell us your
no more.
Yeah, about being.
I can't hear you. I got to get somewhere where I can hear you.
Okay, while she's getting there, you guys, I have to sign off.
Lynn, you owe me a date.
I know. We going on it.
You owe me a date.
I'm going to go on it too.
Okay.
Lynn,
I love you.
Thank you so much,
Hi,
Lynn.
this was magnificent.
Bye, Lynn.
Wow.
Bye, everyone.
You look great.
Bye.
Thank you. Lillias, give us your thoughts about the Life. What was it like being a part of this?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Okay. You have some earbuds, Lillias? Do you have earbuds?
I can't hear you.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Let me write. I'm gonna write it on a cue
I ain't
card.
got no earbuds. I just got here. I ain't got no earbuds.
Listen, don't get that tone with me, Missy.
Look,
did you forget who you was talking to?
Yes, ma'am.
You read?
Y'all look so good. You look so good.
The Life.
Tell about the Life. Oh, baby, I had so much fun on the Life. one of my favorite things to do was to go shopping and bring back glittery nail polish, glittery lipstick. Y'all remember that?
Yes.
And then remember all the people that used to sit in the first 2 rows sniffing coke and carry on.
Yeah, I do.
And remember that man that used to come to every show? He was.
We talked about him.
We talking about that girl.
Lillias, do you remember the time that I went to the Chinese restaurant down the street and ate kimchi and my stomach swelled like I was 5 months pregnant? And you let me come in your dressing room and let my stomach go down. I was in tears, and Michael Gregory Gone was trying to help me. Do you remember that?
No.
Hey. Well, honey, you gave me relief. It was amazing.
Did I give you something to take?
No, you let me get in the dressing room and like get in a crouch position because my stomach would not go down. I had the 2-piece on. And I was in tears. You said, baby, come on in here and it'll go down. Just sit there. And when I had to run on stage, I ran on stage. When I ran off, I ran back in your dressing room. Thank you.
Oh, girl.
Hey,
I had a lot of people coming to that dressing room because it was like a little sanctuary. But Kevin, you remember the time you busted in on me, Kevin? I was naked singing Shaka Khan.
Oops, I'm sorry.
Lily,
not.
No, you're not.
I was looking for Wambu.
Yeah, I found Wambu too. Found Wambu's jug. Oh my God. I was in there warming up, singing Shaka Khan. And I said, just a minute. He thought I said, come in. He came in and I was butt naked. Oh my God. I had so much fun, y'all.
Yeah. Can you tell us about the oldest profession?
Well, the oldest profession was a gift from Cy Coleman and Ira Gasman. It was a gift to me. And I remember the day that Cy called me and said, Joe and I are putting this show together. It was right after we had done this show called Rock and Roll, the First 5,000 Years, which was a huge flop. Wonderful show, but anyway. And they called me and they said, we're putting the show together and writing this show, and we got a role for you. So come on over here and learn this song. And that's when I went over to Cy's house, and he and Joe were there, and they taught me the song. And I had no idea what the impact was going to be. I had no idea. I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing. It's just luck.
Well, we had to throw shoes at you.
Yeah.
Listen here.
Yeah.
Gordon, remember Gordon, my sidekick?
Yes.
So my entrance was right after the oldest profession, okay? And I remember thinking, oh shit, I got to come on after Lillias, right? and Gordon and I literally, this is the truth. We would take bets on how long Lillias was going to stop the show.
Yeah.
Every performance, we were like, okay, this audience is pretty good. This is going to be a minute. And we would just wait to see how long the show was going to stop.
Are you in Billy's production?
No, sweetheart, I couldn't do it. I'm down here in Philly doing Tevye and Fiddler for the
making history.
Mm-hmm. Wait a minute, I got to go outside so I can hear you. Hold on.
Well, you know what? Bellamy and I, you're talking about making bets of how something long would go on. Bellamy and I had a scene right after Pam sang "He's No Good," right? Remember that fabulous song? And the longer this show ran, the longer she would hold out that note at the end. And Bellamy and I were like, we actually have a picture of us backstage going,
That's so wrong.
I love that this is becoming a reunion about Lillis's ear.
It's good. It's okay.
All right.
¿Qué vamos a hacer
Yes.
tiempo aquí?
5 o 6 días.
All right, she's gonna be bilingual.
Bilingual.
Pero
And she's
estoy en
bilingual.
Oh, girl, you better be habla en español.
Yo.
Spanglish.
She speaks that fluently, y'all.
Oh wow. What other memories that can we tap into that you guys?
What about one of the first previews when the gun didn't go off?
Oh yes.
Do you
I don't
remember that?
remember.
Yes.
There was a show. I mean, I can't remember, sorry, the end of the show, what happened. But James Stovall was covering for Kevin, and he's standing by me in that almost last scene, and he leans up to me and whispers, "I forgot the gun."
I remember that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? Didn't Greenwood had to shoot Chuck, right? I gotta say this. He's in my ear. And I think, Chuck, I ran to you and imaginary knife. It was like, go with it.
Okay.
That was it. That was it.
I'm going.
Okay.
¿Cómo te llamas?
Oh my God, I forgot about that. I was like, oh my God, he went
Oh my God. I forgot the gun. I love it.
Okay, I'm back. Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
All right, Lillias is back.
So listen, I can't hardly hear you.
Oh.
And I have my
We're-
thing all the
we're
way
just-
up, and I can't hear you.
We're
But
glad to see you.
I wish that we could really get together in person. Where's Pamela Isaacs?
Nobody knows.
She must have married somebody real good.
If anyone out there knows where Pamela Isaacs is, please contact me at my name at project1voice.org. We're all wishing her nothing but the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope she's well and happy.
Yes.
Of course.
You
Yeah.
know? That's the main thing.
Y'all
Lillias,
remember?
So listen,
y'all
I'm
remember
going to
Liza-
go into my room now
Okay.
because I'm on vacation.
All right, darling. We love you.
Love you,
Thank you.
And
love.
I'm not sure I know how to act.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do, honey.
Yes,
We
you
love
do,
you.
girl.
We
Yes,
love
you do, girl.
Right?
Love you, Lil.
I love you too.
We love you too.
I love you. And I'll talk to
As
you
an
soon.
artist.
I'll see you soon. I hope.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Great.
Bye.
Great.
So, dollar for me.
I will, darling.
Bye.
Bye.
So we have a few minutes left. I just want to make sure that I know what everyone's doing right now. Sam, what are you up to these days?
Well, this is crazy, but I damaged a vocal cord during, and I was on voice rest recently for 5 months and then had surgery. Carla knows about this. Katy knows about this. And I just started really re-singing and talking in January. And now I'm singing, now COVID's, better. And so I'm singing actually better than I was before all this happened because they cleaned up shit. And I'll be in New York at 54 Below in a couple of weeks.
But Sam, you also wrote a little thing called a book.
Yeah.
All right.
Show, a one-man show.
Well, there's two
Sammy,
things.
talk about the
I'll be
book.
quick.
It's
I'll
so
be quick.
good.
I wrote one book called Ham, which was an autobiography kind of thing that we did in New York and LA. Billy actually developed and directed the first production. And then we filmed it at the Pasadena Playhouse. And so it's streaming everywhere. And Carla Renata reviewed that movie and hated it. No, just kidding. And then I wrote another book that's literary fiction called The Substance of All Things, which Katy, I know, read, and very, very proud of that. So I'm doing lots of stuff and very, very happy. And my son is almost 14 years old. And Danny and I have been together for like 27 years now or something. So life is really good. And this is so joyful to see you guys. This is like deep.
Everything.
Yeah.
So Sam, if people want to find out more, where could they go?
SamHarris.com.
Repeat that again for them.
SamHarris.com.
Fantastic. Katy, what's going on with you these days?
Oh gosh. mostly I'm TV film stuff as an actor, but in real life, I kind of do developmental editing for scripts and screenplays and things like that. I've just started my own company, and I'm working with a lot of great script writers and screenplay writers and things, and just developing scripts and trying to help them get it past that writing. I've written it and I need something else stage. So it's tons of fun.
Wow. Kevin Ramsay, what's going on with you?
I think Joy said it best, just living life to the fullest, man.
Yeah.
I'm an artist, so I'm always doing something. Right?
And
You know
you're
what I mean?
in LA.
Yeah.
You're
I'm in
out
LA
in
right now. Yeah, writing, directing, being a grandfather, working with a number of not-for-profit organizations, teaching. But most of all, man, just living daily and celebrating artistry in life. So I'm well. Everybody's well. Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. Carla Renata, welcome, my darling.
Well, y'all know I'm always doing too much, but I spent 5 years on NBC doing a show called Superstore, and that's done as an actress. And then I just finished doing the play version of Designing Women in Arkansas, the world premiere of that, and as an actress. And as a journalist, I have a degree in journalism from Howard University, so I put that to use, and I'm a film critic. And I go by the moniker, the Curvy Film Critic or the Curvy Critic, and I review films and I speak to people on my podcast above and below the line in the film industry. And if anybody wants to see that, they can go to YouTube and see the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata, or see the written version of what I say at thecurvyfilmcritic.com.
Wow, I had no idea that you were a bison.
Yes, HU, you know. Listen, don't get me started talking about Howard University. We'll be here for another hour.
Wait a minute. Now, were you a part of the Howard Players?
No,
Okay.
I wasn't. I was a journalism major. Drama was my minor. I got a degree in broadcast production and journalism from Howard, and then I got a secondary degree from UCLA in public relations and writing.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
Yeah, because I'm that person.
Yes. Judine, how are you?
Hi.
What's going on?
Just like Kevin Ramsay said, I'm living life. Robert, our son, is 17, and my daughter is 23, and I'm living life. I am about helping the underserved community and marginalized communities, and I've created a foundation for, it's called You Can't Stop the Beat, Family Foundation for Learning Differences. And a lot of kids in the community that I grew up in are dyslexic, ADHD, ADD, and it's not properly diagnosed. And a lot of our kids in our communities go places where they don't need to be. And I am all about it. I've connected with a lot of people that we know in the industry to help me. And that's what it's about for me. TV and film is happening, and but helping others to me is the star of my life.
That's a beautiful
and my
thing.
family.
Judine, so how could people get in touch with you if they wanted to donate or be a part of this foundation?
My email is justjudine@gmail.com, but my website is justjudine.co, C-O, not a mistake, C-O. And there you can leave all the information. And I love to give a shout out to Showstopper, America's Greatest Dance Championships. I'm the host of their shows as well as one of their adjudicators. And I've been doing that gig since I'm 17 years old. Thank you, Showstopper. Okay, come on now.
Come on. Felicia, what's up with you?
So I've been developing a lot of shows. Most recently, I was able to play, I did A Closer Walk with Patsy Cline, and I was able to I brought that to life, which was such an honor. I brought a world premiere of What a Wonderful World, streamed it live in December, about 5 years to develop that. My husband's the AD over at a theater outside of Chicago called Timberlake Playhouse. And so we do a lot of new works. And so anybody want to come develop your stuff, come to the cornfields. But going back and forth through New York, of course, the past 2 years has been what it is. But Sunday I'm doing a 54, and so yeah, I'm living my life and being, doing it.
Good. So how do people reach you? and to send you scripts, to send you, you know.
Well, if you want to send scripts, it'd be Timberlake casting at Timberlake, the entire word, timberlakeplayhouse.org, and then they'll get in touch with that'll facilitate to my husband. But yeah, it's really exciting. A lot of new work's going on, and that's what's really about, bringing things to life. No pun intended.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really exciting.
Tell Brenda thank you for the king cakes.
Oh,
Your
Brenda.
mother.
Oh yes.
Where's
Thank
your
you,
mom?
Brenda, for the king cakes.
I'll bring her. I'll go get her.
Yeah,
Don't keep
please
talking.
get
I'll
your
get her.
mom. Yes, Chuck Cooper.
Yes.
You're not busy at all. What are you up to?
You know what? A year ago, I got my pension, and it was cute. and I was like, "Oh, I'm done. I don't need this no more. I've done it. I don't need no more." The moment I said that, work started raining down.
Of course.
This is so amazing and wonderful. But we just finished doing a show on Broadway that was incredible.
You were fabulous, amazing. I saw it 3 times.
Trouble in Mind. You can say it.
Alice
Childress.
Powerful play.
Such a wonderful time with that show. And then I that one closed, and I went right into Fiddler, which we're doing here with the Philly Philharmonic, and I'm getting to play Tevye. So I mean, back to back, 2 great roles that I'm so thrilled about doing. But so we do a show tonight. We got another one tomorrow, and then I'm off. Then I'm going back home to be a grandpa and play with my grandkids and do some fishing and hang out and maybe wait for the next one.
Yeah. Look, I knew there was going to be some fishing in there.
There's Brenda. I was thinking, Judine, there's Brenda. Hey, honey. How's it going? I was thinking.
Fabulous. I just wanted to thank you personally for those big king cakes that you had delivered to the backstage door. That was everything.
There you go. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Her birthday's tomorrow, so.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Sam, do you feel birthday wishable?
Do I feel birthday?
Would you mind serenading the lovely Brenda with a little
Happy birthday to you.
Sing it, honey.
Happy birthday to you.
From the heart. From the heart.
Happy birthday, my dear Brenda. We always love you. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Well,
All everybody, love. I can't sing it. Here you go.
Oh, she looks amazing.
Love again.
Yes. And you've got a wonderfully talented daughter.
I have.
She's like, if I must say so myself.
I love all y'all.
Love you, Black.
Yeah. Look, this is. I want to thank you guys so much for this. We're waiting to talk to the cast of the Encores version of adaptation of the Life. They're gonna join us in probably about the next 2 minutes. So we're excited about that. And it's running. The Life is running at City Center Encores, March 16th through the 20th for 7 performances only. 7 performances. Now, to get tickets, which start at $35, you can go to nycitycenter.org. That's nycitycenter.org for tickets for this brand new adaptation directed by Billy Porter. We cannot wait to see this. We cannot wait. Look, while we're waiting, are there any more great stories you can tell us about the Life in 1997? Anything else you want to share with this?
Yes, I want to share a couple of things real quick. Judy Jacksina was the best publicist ever. You hear me?
Crazy.
It's crazy.
Crazy. I love her in a good way.
way.
Yeah, I know you do. But I lived at the office at that time, and the ideas that she came up with, guys. Remember that print work where we were all with the NYPD barrier and our legs? You know, we were all there, and it was fabulous. And she just really poured her heart and soul. Also, Marty Richards was amazing. We got flowers backstage every week. There was candy. There was the party to the Hamptons that they had the bus come pick us up, and we went there. He treated us, in my personal opinion, like royalty and family.
Yes.
In that way, he made us feel special, and you realize that you were a part of something special. I want to say those two things. Yes, it really made a huge difference. A huge difference.
There ain't no more producers like that.
That's what I was going to say, Chuck. There are no producers like that. We had the best. Well, you have to remember, back then they only had a few producers. There wasn't 20,000 people producing.
Right.
So it was very boutique, and we were treated like family. And it was. I remember he had those suicide door Rolls Royce. You know, he'd come out.
Yes, honey.
Honey, he was, and we had those New York parties. New Year's Eve parties there.
Yes.
And,
And remember Michael, who was his assistant? Michael is still around, looking fabulous.
Yeah, he's great. He looks
And
great.
his best friend was the original Jane, and she'd go, "Darling,
yes,
darling."
yes.
Remember the original Jane from the non-talkie? Yeah, she was
And
fabulous.
who was the other young man that was in the office? Oh my God.
No, not Adam.
Roger
Not
Berlin also is a producer. Roger Berlin.
Roger
was one of
Berlin.
the-
Right.
Roger
Remember
Berlin.
David Newman?
David
Yeah.
Newman.
Remember
right?
David Newman? Did y'all know David Newman wrote Bonnie and Clyde?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Billy
Yeah.
Porter.
Hey.
Billy Porter.
Billy Porter. Billy
What's
Porter.
going on, y'all?
Hey, honey.
What's up, baby?
Catching up, Billy. This has been so fun. We are told stories and brought back the memories. It's been amazing.
Yes.
I love it. There's so many memories in this room too, because I don't know if a lot of you know this part of the story, but I was the Life was one of the first auditions that I ever auditioned. One of the first ones I ever auditioned in New York, and it was that workshop that happened probably almost a decade before the show actually happened. And I was 19. I was in town for the summer. It was like a 12-week workshop.
Oh yeah.
So I was hopeful that I would get it and be able to work for the whole summer, be able to make some money, be able to get some medical insurance, and then go back to school and call it a day, because I was at Carnegie Mellon. So I got a call back from an open call, and I went to the callback, and turns out I was called back for the lead. I was called back for Fleetwood. Now, I was 19, and so I was way too young. But one of my superpowers at that time was, and Kevin knows this, is that, when I was on stage by myself, I was an adult. But when I was next to other adults, you could tell how young I was. And that was what the whole Five Guys Named Mo thing was too. It was like, I stood by in Five Guys Named Mo, and next to the grown-ups, I literally looked like, and my face is still a baby face, but I literally looked like a baby. So anyway, I thought, I'll get the ensemble, and I'll still get my insurance weeks, and I'll be able to, and I didn't get it at all. And I was really upset. And Joe Layton, who was the original director, Chuck will remember, I don't know if anybody else remembers, but Joe Layton, for those of you who don't know who Joe Layton was, he was a famous Broadway director. He won, I think it was 2 or 3 Emmys for directing the first 3 Barbra Streisand television concert specials. And he also directed Barnum. And he called me on the phone and he said something to me that I had already heard a million times and would hear a million other times, which was, oh, you're so talented. Oh, you should never be in the chorus. Oh, you're very special. Oh, you're a unicorn. And I was like, great, great, great. I hear you. I receive it. And I have bills to pay. So I'm going to have to be in somebody's chorus. I'm going to have to make some money somewhere before I can be this star that you all say I am, but I ain't getting no work. So fast forward to me graduating from college. Joe Layton tracks me down. And Chuck, was it like 2 or 3? I think it was like 2 or 3 or 4 years that we did backers auditions with Justin.
It was more like 10 years.
I was trying to be kind, but we did like
a lot.
We did it a lot.
Yeah.
And I was Fleetwood in those auditions, in those backers auditions. And so I have a really unique connection. And ultimately, you know, Kevin Ramsay played the role of Fleetwood beautifully, and it was such a lovely show. It was so great to see it actually make it because we had spent so long trying to get it there. And you know, it was necessary at the time. And I feel like, you know, you all, I hope to make you all proud with this new version, because you know what I've done and what I always think it needed, not about this, just in terms of in relation to us as African American artists and performers. You know, we have always, writers who have had the voice to write things for us. We have not always had the autonomy to tell our own stories.
Yep.
And so what I want to say is Cy Coleman, Ira Gasman, David Newman, you know, just like the Gershwins and Porgy and Bess, you know, they were trying to see us. They saw us. They were trying to create a space for us where there was no space. Now, did they fully succeed? No, but their intentions were in the right place. And so with that in mind, what I tried to do with this piece was the first thing I have to do is create the context that white people don't have, quite frankly. And because of where we've been in the last 5 years, I can say that out loud. I can say it out loud. Y'all don't have the context to tell our story. Let's set it up with context so that if we're talking about Black people as pimps and prostitutes and drug addicts and drug dealers and all of these things, we're also talking about the systems of oppression and erasure and the caste system that exists in America that keeps these people there. How do we humanize these people? How do we humanize this situation? I don't know of many people as children who grow up dreaming of being a prostitute, dreaming of being a drug addict or a pimp. I don't know many people. The thing I talk about Memphis is a businessman instinctively.
And a good
If he had access to the education, he would be Warren fucking Buffett.
Yeah.
But he didn't. The only opportunity he had was right in front of him, and that was the streets. And so he took it. So let's tell it from that perspective that humanizes every single person on this stage and creates empathy. The next thing that I did was, okay, hold on a second. Lola, come here.
Lois, come here.
Hi, it's Ledisi. I just wanted to say thank you.
Hi. Hi, Ledisi. How are you?
And the wonderful foundation. Hey, Chuck, I miss you, Chuck. I haven't
sweetheart.
seen you in so long. And I'm really excited about doing this. And I just wanted to get in here before Billy came back. But now I'm stuck with him. So I love you. Thank you for the foundation. We're going to have a fun time. And of course, Billy here. Bye, y'all. Thank you.
You know, the second hurdle for me was context and empathy. You know, how do we create a space where these mostly white, mostly rich audiences, or wealthy, or well enough to pay $200 a ticket? How are we going to make these people, who is the group of people that they will instinctively have empathy for without having to work at it? Queen is now transgender.
Makes sense. And
that's the last.
Who's playing
the last group right now? You know, that's the group right now. That's the conversation where people are understanding. Oh, right. And so when Queen is transgender and she stays with Fleet, now we understand why she stays with him. He's the only one who knows. He's the one who loved her just as she is, right? So she forgives him over and over and over again because she has nowhere else to go, or so she thinks. And so now the arc of Queen is, I actually do have someplace else to go.
Billy, who's playing Queen?
Get there. Sorry, Carla.
Who's playing Queen, baby?
Yes.
Her name is Alexandra Gray.
Yes. Yeah. We're so excited. Billy, we are so thrilled about this adaptation of the life that you've put together. We're so excited that you're in New York City. We're so excited that you're directing. And we spent this entire conversation talking about how much we want this to be successful, and we love bridging this gap between the 1997 production and what's going to be happening in 2022. So please,
it's going to be good, y'all. It's going to be good, y'all. Going to be proud.
I'm so grateful you're doing it, Billy. I'm so grateful.
Billy, tell the audience how they can get tickets. Tell them
how do y'all get tickets? Go. It's right down here. NYCityCenter.org.
Very good. Very good.
Encores. NYCityCenter.org. It is March 16th through the 20th. And you know.
Can you say .org one more time?
.org. Listen. Look, I need to be understood.
Yeah.
Billy,
on the tongue.
Yeah. We've got to run, but I want to thank you.
I do too. I'm in the middle of rehearsal.
I know. We thank you for this time. Everyone's coming to see the show. We're going to be there to support you and the life. 1997 and 2022. We're inaugural season at Encores. We're all there for you. So thank you all. Thank you all for this. Thank you.
Love you, Billy. Billy.
Love you. Oh, guys, this is great.
Omar, don't take me out.
Love y'all so much.
Omar, don't take me out. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you all, cast members.
Love y'all
so much. You're amazing. You're amazing. You are amazing. So that was it. We've celebrated the life in 1997 and in 2022. So please get tickets to see the life at City Center Encores. Tickets start at $35. Make sure you see this. It's going to be something that everyone in New York City and around the entire world is going to be talking about. So you must have a seat in this place. So that's it. So I want to thank everyone at City Center and Encores for allowing Project One Voice to present this reunion of the Broadway cast members from the 1997 Broadway run of The Life, and to chat with Billy Porter and members of the cast of the 2022 concert adaptation of The Life that is running March 16th to the 20th for 7 performances at New York City Center. So I'm signing out. I'm Erich McMillan-McCall, founder and CEO of Project One Voice, saying to you as always, make sure you support Black theater in your community. If you can't find a Black theater, go to project1voice.org to locate a Black theater in your neck of the woods. So from all of us at Project One Voice to all of you, have a great evening, and we will see you hopefully sometime soon, hopefully at the next Encores presentation, which is going to be Into the Woods. So have a great one. Stay safe, stay well, and we will talk soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.